And in today's passage, Jesus keeps getting at the heart of what kingdom people are all about. Look with me in Matthew chapter 6, beginning with verse 19. Don't hoard treasure down here where it gets eaten by moths and corroded by rust, or worse, stolen by burglars. Stockpile treasure in heaven where it's safe from moth and rust and burglars. It's obvious, isn't it? The place where your treasure is the place you will most want to be and end up being. Your eyes, oh, I wish we had time to preach on this passage. Your eyes are windows into your body. If you open your eyes wide in wonder and belief, your body fills up with light. If you live squinty-eyed in greed and distrust, your body is a dank cellar. If you pull the blinds on your windows, what a dark life you will have. Jesus says you can't worship two gods at once. Loving one God, you'll end up hating the other. Adoration of one feeds contempt for the other. You can't worship God and money both. Now, understand, as we look at the whole context of the Bible, Jesus isn't saying don't save, because we have plenty of passages that would say it's the right thing to save. But it's the right thing to invest. What he is saying is, don't treasure your treasures. Money isn't the problem. What's the problem? The love of money. Luke 12:15 records these words of Jesus. Boy, let this sink in. Protect yourself against the least bit of greed. The least bit of greed. Life is not defined by what you have, even when you have a lot. Do you get that? Let's take a treasure survey today and see how we're doing with this stuff that Jesus is talking about. If we really want to be kingdom people, let's take the treasure survey. It goes like this. Question 1. Are you ready to write this down? Am I preoccupied with things? Take some time this week and take the survey. Am I preoccupied with things? Second question. Do I depend on things to make me happy? Is your net worth and your self-worth one and the same? Third question. Am I jealous or envious of what others have? Survey question number 4. Am I overwhelmed by consumer debt? Consumer debt, that's the key word. I'm not talking about medical bills or other unfortunate situations. I'm talking about the credit cards that you have used to get that instant gratification, to be able to enjoy things now instead of later. In light of the scriptures this morning, in light of being kingdom people, in light of what Jesus is saying to our hearts today, I want to encourage all of us to think about living on less instead of pursuing more. Remember, the secret to happiness is not how many things you have, but in believing that what you have is enough. Question 5. Do I own things? Oh, this is going to be painful for some of you. Do I own things that I haven't seen or used in over a year? Have you ever seen that show, Hoarders? You could be a star. Number 6. Has my appreciation for what God has given me lessened? My brothers and sisters, we should never take for granted the blessings that God has sent our way. And a good exercise for us this week would be to take some time to reflect on the goodness of God in our lives. Count your blessings. Name them one by one. Finally, number 7, have I lost the joy of giving. When you give your tithes, when you give your offerings, whether it's in the offering plate here in the sanctuary or in the offering boxes in the fireside room, or even giving your offerings and your tithe online. Is it a joy? Is it an act of worship? Or is it a burden? What's the Bible say? The Lord loveth a cheerful giver, but accepteth from a grouch. No, it doesn't say the rest. I just paraphrased the last part there. Jesus is trying to teach us that possessions are really not owned, they're loaned. The things that I love and hold dear to my heart, they're just borrowed. They're not mine at all. Jesus only let me use them to brighten my life. So remind me, dear Lord. You can't take it with you. But Jesus says you can send it ahead. 1 Timothy 6, verses 6 and 7. But godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it. To quote Jim Deal, what's the point of being the richest man in the cemetery?